who doesn't like mac and cheese? And it's even better if it doesn't come from a box. This is a very quick, very from-scratch recipe for a very cheesy, creamy macaroni and cheese. Now, not including the time it takes to boil the pasta, this recipe can literally be done within about 15 minutes, so you can make it almost as quick as the one from the box. I'll start by saying that I'm assuming you know how to boil water and can read the directions on the back of a pasta box. Any pasta that could grab hold of sauce will work, but of course, elbows are classic. We're going to start with some ingredients. You're going to use 2 cups of elbow pasta. Now, according to the box, 2 cups of pasta is supposed to equal 4 servings. I don't really believe that's accurate in the real world, but that's what we'll base this recipe on, so it'll be easy to adjust if you need it. We're also going to look at 2 strips or 3 strips of bacon or pancetta, coarsely chopped. Now, this is optional. You don't have to use it, but, you know, who doesn't like bacon, right? In addition to that, you'll need 3 tablespoons of butter. You're going to dice half of a medium onion. You're going to use 3 to 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now, this is going to be dependent on whether you use the bacon. If you can figure basically 1 heaping tablespoon for every tablespoon of fat in the pan, bacon or butter. We're going to use some Deli Ham. I'm using a variety called Sweet Slice from my local grocery store. About 4 or 5 sandwich slices. I generally roll this up, cut it up into pieces, and then dice it into even smaller pieces. We're going to use 2 cups of half and half or whole milk, and 2 cups of chicken broth. Now, if you don't want to use chicken broth, you could use vegetable broth or something like that. But whichever you decide to use, hang on to it because you may need to add more depending on how well the pasta thickens. We're going to add some spices, a half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. And then you're going to add salt and pepper to your personal taste. I generally don't add a lot of salt and let people salt it themselves. Now, as for the cheese, you just really want to make sure you're using a really good melting cheese. I've used a variety: American, cheddar, Monterey Jack, fontina. I even use processed cheeses like velveeta. I usually use sandwich slice deli cheese and then just break it up and stir it into the mixture with a whisk. How much? Start with 8 to 10 ounces. And then you can add another piece or 2 if you think it needs to be cheesier. What I'm going to be doing with this one is using about 10 ounces, split 50-50 between white American cheese and white cheddar cheese. Using the same pot that you boiled your pasta in, throw in the pancetta or bacon and get it started rendering down. After the bacon or pancetta has rendered down and browned a little bit, add in your 3 teaspoons of butter. As the butter begins to melt, toss in the onions and cook them until they become translucent. Then you're going to add the chopped deli ham, and you're going to cook all of this together until the onions start to caramelize. Once your onions have reached the caramelization stage, lower your heat and put in 4 tablespoons of flour. Mix it around to soak up the fats. You're going to continue cooking the flour for a couple of minutes. Now, you may notice that I had to add an additional tablespoon. That's because the pancetta rendered out quite a bit more oil than I expected. Basically, you're going to put in about a heaping tablespoon of flour for every tablespoon of fat that's in the pot. When the flour is cooked, it'll start to smell a little bit nutty. At that point, it's time to add in your half and half and chicken broth. So take your 2 cups of half and half and your 2 cups of chicken broth, and using a whisk them into the flour mixture. Before the sauce starts to thicken, it's time to add our spices. So toss in your half teaspoon of chili powder, your half teaspoon of paprika, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. You'll also want to salt and pepper this based on your own taste. Keep whisking the mixture until it starts to thicken. You got to make sure that you keep whisking it, because since this is cream based, it will burn pretty quick, so keep it moving. When the mixture is starting to thicken, start adding your cheese, just a couple slices at a time. Continue whisking until each piece melts, then add in another couple slices, and so on until all of the cheese is added and melted. Give it a taste. If it's cheesy enough, now you can think about putting the pasta back into the pot. Once the sauce is ready, add in your pasta. Now, if the mixture is too thick, you can always add more broth to loosen it up. If it's too loose, don't worry about that, because we're going to let it sit and the pasta will continue to absorb the liquid, so it will thicken up as it sits for a while. So this is basically done. You can eat it right out of the pot. If you want to get fancy, put it in a casserole, top it with some crushed Ritz crackers mixed with some shredded cheese, and put it in a 350 oven until it's all brown and bubbly. But you can eat it right out of the pot. Enjoy. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was kind of a special request, so if you get a chance to make it, leave a comment below. And please, like this video, subscribe if you can. It's free and it will let you know when I add new content. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.